Funny how the best episodes of the show are also the gayest ones. The Last of Us, episode 7? 6? I'm losing track. Episode's called Left Behind, and I know that it's based on a DLC campaign that was, well, campaign's a little bit much, a DLC chapter story, something that was done for the original game. Haven't played it, because as I've noted, I didn't play more than a few hours of just the first one because I got motion sick trying to do it. But I did know that this was a thing. So this is our big flashback episode for Ellie, to get a sense of what her life was like before we got to this point, sort of in a more day in, day out sense. And we also get a sense of how Fedra, I believe that's what it's referred to as, the sort of authoritarian remnants of the U.S. government runs things and trains its soldiers. And yeah, it's pretty harsh. It's unforgiving, it's incredibly militaristically focused, and it's easy to see why someone like Ellie's friend Riley would want to break away from that. But at the same time, it's also easy to see the issues with the Fireflies, which is where Riley ends up. We get little hints that the Fireflies, while wanting to combat Fedra, which is probably a good thing, definitely have some of their own issues. Just from the fact that they weren't going to let Riley try and get Ellie out. And then there's, of course, the tactics, the bombings, who dies, who gets killed. And that's not me saying that extreme tactics are never on the table, depending on the situation. Sometimes that's the direction you got to go, but it's not painting a black and white situation of Fireflies good, Fedra bad. It's a lot grayer, as it should be, I think, with a story like this. So there's that. The dynamic between Riley and Ellie, it's good. Both the actors involved have a really good rapport. They bounce off each other well. It also, it kind of gives you that glimpse of something that I've mentioned before, which is Ellie's ability, even in this absolutely messed up world and situation, to still find joy. And we see that at play here as they go through the mall. Yeah, stuff sucks. But when something is cool, she gets that joy in her face, the way young kids do. She'll find something to be excited about. And that's just great to see. It's another reminder of what's worth fighting for. Because if the world doesn't get better, that light is going to get snuffed out, whether it's because she dies or it just gets ground out of her. So more glimpses of that, I am absolutely in favor of. So yes, I mentioned it being another very gay episode. The last one being episode 3 with that absolutely amazing couple. I like that episode better, especially as far as the romance goes, because while this is good, it also is the, younger teen kind of thing with somewhat impulsive reactions, somewhat heightened emotional reactions to things, which, first of all, to be clear, are all understandable. I am not young anymore, but I do remember what it was like being a teenager. Stuff was that heightened. You did kind of fly off the handle at stuff. I still don't especially enjoy watching that. That's not to say I didn't enjoy this episode, but it's why I don't enjoy it as much. There was something really unique with Bill and Frank's relationship, because seeing that kind of relationship evolve and develop between not only two adults, two mature adults, and to see that kind of relationship depicted as something I feel like we don't see much at all, gay or straight, but especially between two gay men, yeah, that felt a lot more special. I mean, I haven't checked the demographics on this. I feel like a lot of the more queer positive shows that have come out in the last few years have leaned in favor of younger queer characters, which, like, depending on what you want to do with the story or any number of other things, especially if you don't want to combat a ton of inbuilt prejudice that a lot of older people who get to know themselves later in life end up having. Like, yeah, no, makes sense. But it means that I feel like this is a little bit more familiar, whereas Bill and Frank felt a lot more unique and a lot more special. But as I said, this is still good. And their connection works very well. And we did, I mean, it's The Last of Us. Something's going to go horribly wrong. I figured we would see where Ellie got bit. I didn't necessarily call that Riley would too, although it makes sense in hindsight. And here's the thing that got me about this episode. Because while the bonding and the relationship was really nice, the first kiss was adorably sweet. That wasn't hitting me in the feels quite all the way. But then Riley, then she talks about how since they think they're both dead, and we know Ellie will end up living, but since she thinks they're both dead, she says that they can take the easy way out, just end it with a gun, or they can wait together for however long they have. And she basically says, screw that to the first option. And knowing that their time is insanely limited, says that she's not okay with them throwing away whatever time is left. And that got me. That got me just as a sentiment. I think that's great. And to hear something like that said by somebody that young, somebody who should never have to make that kind of decision, yeah. Yeah, that hits. And that hurts in a good way. That's sort of the thing about this show. When it really works well, it is hurting me, but it is hurting me in a very good way, which this episode does. We get a little bit with Joel at the front and the back end as she works to try and save him, but we now get a better sense of Ellie. And on the one hand, it's the kind of flashback that doesn't feel like it tells us that much especially new about Ellie. It doesn't really reveal something about her that we couldn't have guessed as far as her character aspect, but I do think that she is worth drilling down into and really getting to some of the specifics about why she is as hung up on the idea that Joel was going to leave her and leave her alone, because she's been left before, and why she's so desperate to keep him alive, because this is not just about survival for her. For what she's lost, she doesn't want to keep losing things, which is true of him too, but they come at it, different ages, different weights to their experience, and it has hit them in different ways, but they've got a lot of comparable loss in their lives. And I think it helps to better understand Ellie so that you get her moments of bonding with Joel and, laughing at a book of bad jokes or what have you are not because she doesn't recognize the danger. She's not failing to realize the situation she is. She does these things in defiance of the situation she's in. Kind of like how Riley wanted to live for as long as she could in defiance of what was going to happen. This is really good. Still a really good show. This was a really good episode. The Last of Us, whichever number episode this was. What did you think of it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. This probably hit nostalgia for a lot of people with a lot of the stuff that was in the mall. That was entertaining, but that doesn't get that much out of me at the end of the day. But if you want to support what I do, Patreon's the best way to do it. And even if you can't support me that way, there's links to other stuff that I do down in the description. Like, share, subscribe also help me out, but don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can come on back next time you need a break. And now my thanks to my highest supporters on Patreon. Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfula, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Melinda Walters, Emu Delkey, Leotha Boyd, Becky Sparks, Fernabilax, the Poodle, Tracy Scrappett, Angry Casperl, Tim Price, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Shayla Gourlay, and Rosalind Bennett. Thanks for your support. And if you want to get your name in the credits, check out the rewards on the Patreon.